Hello and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. I'm Janna and I'm here to tell you about the new theme over at the Funky Junky Inspiration Avenue blog. This week we're creating to the theme of Americana. We've got a few American holidays coming up and we're looking to be crafting with the colors of red, white, and blue, and let's even throw in a few stars. Today I'm going to be creating a mixed media tag to the theme of Americana. If you'd like to see which materials I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. For today's Americana make, we're going to be starting with a distressed mixed media tag from Ranger and some distressed spray stains. Today we're using Uncharted Mariner, Frayed burlap, and Tart Cranberry, which is one of the distressed mica spray stains. To start, we're going to be spritzing our mixed media tag with the distress sprayer. I just want to get some water droplets on here because I'm specifically going to be trying to move the colors in a certain way. The top part is going to be mostly blue with the Uncharted Mariner, and then I want to get some red along the bottom because this is kind of going to be imitating the American flag. Already, we've got some great flow because we put the water down early. But, of course, to give this a distressed flair, we are adding the frayed burlap. Okay. Tag dry. Now, next layer. So with the water, I'm doing just a little bit of speckly bits, and I want to do a little trail of red at the bottom. This is kind of going to be like where the red stripes of the American flag might be. So I want to create a deliberate water path for the distressed mica spray stain to travel along. And I also want some fun drip drops at the same time. All right, giving the mica spray stain a very good shake. Make sure everything's reincorporated. And now we're spritzing. So following that water trail, the spray stain is going to wick along those lines. Now I'm just going to give it a little help, a little tappity tap with the finger. And then, of course, we're going to be drying this with the Ranger heat tool. Okay, I'm liking this pretty well. All dry. Now let's go back in and we'll add the final drip drops to our background. That is looking really good. I'm very happy with the colors on this so far. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Now we just need to add a touch more of the frayed burlap. There we go. Definitely getting some more grungy vibes. A few more drops. I want to get the ink flowing, get a bit of a pattern going. I'm trying to get the red to move out just a little bit. And now we're just going to dry it off with the Ranger heat tool. So that shouldn't take too long. Be back in just a moment. All right, now let's add some stripes to the flag. And to do that, we're going to be using some of the Distressed Foundry Wax Sterling. Now I'm just taking this directly out of the bottle and I'm going to be tracing a few stripes right across the tag. I didn't want this to be like perfect stripes, so I'm not using a paintbrush. I just wanted to have the stripes there, and if they're uneven or a little bit thicker or thinner in places, it's going to be good. Okay, a few more stripes here. And one more there. I definitely like the way that's coming out. Oh, and why not? Let's add another one along the top. Kind of a little divide between the blue and the red. And one teeny tiny one at the bottom. All right. I'm very happy with that. Let's just recap the foundry wax. And now we need to pull out the Sizzix embossing tool. I absolutely love that, and it's perfect for heating up fast. All right. So we're just going to run that right over the tag, and there we go. We've got these amazing silver metallic stripes. No muss, no fuss. Just the way I like it when I'm creating. Now we're going to be bringing in some of the Sizzix 3D adhesive because we're going to be adding some stars to our tag. And I'm going to be running the Sizzix adhesive through one of the Tim Holtz shifter stencils. This is the Tim Holtz shifter star stencil. So of course we're going to be pulling in the palette knife. Oh, and this is THS 111. How fitting. So we are going to be dipping into the Sizzix adhesive, and we're going to take the palette knife and we're going to gently scrape that across the stars. Now I only want the stars on the top half of the tag on the blue section. So we don't need a whole lot of the medium, but just enough to get our stars covered. And as always, I'm using some of the press and seal to make sure that the medium is staying fresh. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to scrape that gently down the stencil. We're going to be very careful to stay only within the blue segments of the tag. Okay, perfect. Didn't take a whole lot. We'll scrape the excess back into the jar. And we'll just do a little bit of cleanup around here, and then we'll take the stencil off, and I'm going to pause for a moment while I wash the stencil. Otherwise, our stencil is going to be very sticky, and that won't be fun the next time I want to use it. So, go ahead, wash the stencil, and we're back. Now I need to let this sit for a little bit. This should take about 15 to 20 minutes to dry. And while that's drying, we're going to be pulling in our next element. I love the new Idea-Ology photos. And this one immediately jumped out at me because we've got the flag on here. We've got the cute little girl in the car. This is perfect for an Americana, kind of a 4th of July Memorial Day type theme. To color this, I'm going to be using some of the Distress watercolor pencils. Now, I've been saving the shavings from the colored pencils, and they have ended up in this palette. So with a water brush, we can easily apply colors directly to our picture. Okay, so many colors and many, many choices. It looks like we're going to start off with some prize ribbon, and that's going to go directly onto the car. That should be a lovely color for us to work with. Here I am using the Tim Holtz Ranger water brush. I absolutely love the fine detail of this brush, and it makes it so easy to carefully paint in little detailed spots. So we're going to finish painting this, and we are going to stick the rest of this on fast forward as we finish up our main focal point. Now that we have our Sizzix adhesive paste all nice and dry, it is time to add some sparkle to these stars. And to do that, we're going to be doing that with the metallic flakes from Findabar, and this is the steampunk mix. So from this, it's got 3 different metallic colors, but since I'm going for silver stars, I'm just going to be pulling out some of the little silver bits to go over them. And we're just going to gently push the foil flakes right onto the stars. And then I'm going to take one of the Tim Holtz Collage brushes. This is the little one. And we're going to be brushing off the extra pieces of gilding flakes. So let's go ahead. We're going to just keep adding these little silvery pieces here and there on the tag. And that should give us some nice and shiny stars. I am just loving how the background came out. It's got this very distressed look. You can see all the water droplets. And with the addition of the stars, this is going to look really, really cool. All right, so with the brush, I'm just kind of pushing and brushing at the same time just to make sure that we're pushing the flakes onto the sticky parts of the adhesive and then brushing off the little extra bits that are hanging off the edges. So I'm just going to keep using the brush. We're going to brush, flick, and kind of push everything into place. Those stars came out really well. I'm very happy with that. Even though a couple may be a little bit off in shape, that totally works because this is not meant to be perfect. This is kind of just a rough vintagey thing. Maybe the stars got a little bit worn off with time. Maybe they just didn't print well. But I'm liking that look either way. So we're just going to finish up a few places. A little bit more of the flakes to add, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay. I'm thinking I'm just about done. We just need to brush off the little extra bits and pieces, and we should be good. All right. Just taking the brush, pushing it down, and trying to get off that little bit of extra. You can see that there's places where it didn't quite stick, and the flakes just want to kind of peel up. And we've got other places that need just a little bit more of the flaky stuff, and I'm just pushing that in with my finger. Okay. Almost done here. A little bit more there. It's pretty good. Just trying to brush that up. Okay. Now we're going to be putting together the components for our tag. The focal point is going to be the photo that we altered with the distressed watercolor pencils. I'm just kind of playing around with the position of this before I make my final decision on where I'm putting everything. I'm also going to be pulling in one of the older Sizzix die sets, and this is an Impresslit. It's one of the thin strips. I absolutely love this one because it's got stars on it and it's very vintagey, and it definitely fits with this Americana theme. I die cut the stars out of some of the distress metallic cardstock. Now on the bottom I also want to add in another set of stars. There's a really neat little stamp strip from the Stamp Set Inspector, and we're going to stamp that in Distress Archival Black Soot at the bottom. And of course, the stamp set for the professor is CMS 465. So let's get out the archival ink and we'll stamp along the bottom of the tag, and then we can finish assembling the rest of the parts and pieces. Okay, just a bit of ink, and now we're going to just stamp that out. Good firm pressure, and of course, as we know, no CPR. All right, and there we go. We've got a little addition of a star border at the bottom. Definitely liking that. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach our pieces. For the main focal point, I'm going to be using some of the Simon Says Stamp foam squares. I absolutely love these. These are super easy to peel, and they come in a couple of different sizes depending on how much lift you want your piece to have. So taking those back pieces off, we can now stick this down right onto our tag. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to place it here. That is looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go in and add some Collage medium to the back of the star strip, and we will add that along the bottom of the tag. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to place that down. That should be good right there. I'm deliberately leaving some space so that we can see the word July and the year 1933. That should be good. Okay, and we'll just quickly trim off the little bit of extra with the tonic snips. So next I'm going to be adding a piece of crinkle ribbon to the top of the tag. I have altered this piece of crinkle ribbon with some mustard seed and a dash of harvest moon. So we're just going to go ahead and tie that on to the tag, making a little loop and pushing the rest of the ribbon through. Good. That little bit of yellow adds something really nice. Now I want to add a little bit of extra something along the bottom. And we're going to be pulling in some of the Tim Holtz Idea-Ology metallic dots. Those are going to add the perfect little flare for the base of the card. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop down a few little spots of Collage medium, and then we can go ahead and add those dots. For the color, I think I'm going to be using the silver ones. That's going to be a nice contrast. We've already got some yellow and gold in the ribbon and the big star band, so the silver dots can echo the stars in the background. And I'm taking the second to smallest sized dot to add to the front of the tag. And I'm going to be adding 6 different dots. Okay. Just pulling some out, taking a look, and sticking those down. There, we are almost done with this tag. I've absolutely loved how this all came together using a variety of different mediums. It's so fun to mix the mediums together, crisscross, and see how their different effects can all add up together to make something really unique. Oh, definitely really happy with the tag since we've got the distress spray stain in the background, we've got the colored pencils on the main focal point, and then we brought in some Sizzix and even some Idea-Ology pieces. Now, of course, I absolutely must add some washi tape to finish this tag off. Washi tape is kind of becoming one of my little trademarks, and I'm absolutely loving putting this in wherever I can on many different makes. So we're using one of the little skinny ones this time, and I'm just adding a little bit to each corner of the photo. Oh, the top 2 at least. That's really working. And in case you didn't catch it, we also used the decal trimmer to trim off the photo when we were putting all of this together. Why not? Let's go ahead and add another 2 little strips of the Idea-Ology washi tape along the bottom of the photo as well. We might as well get that little four corner thing going. So I'm just going to stick that there, tuck the edge over, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Ooh, I am absolutely loving how the foundry wax is kind of like a different type of silver from the dots. That is really neat. We've got a whole bunch of different metallic feels going on. All right, that should do it for our tag. Today, we've been creating to the theme of Americana for the Funky Junky Inspiration Avenue blog. If you would like to see a written description for this project, go ahead and click the link down below. It has been so much fun playing with different techniques and experimenting with different metallic combinations. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner. And until next time, happy crafting!